Hi. So today I want to talk about questions because so many answers can be found in the forming of a question. So even something with, where do I start? I know that I'm wanting something, so let's just say I'm wanting some sort of change in my life. And I don't know where to start. That's where I'm at. So perfect. So first of all, let's start where we are because that's where we are. So let's start where we are, and then from that place, understand what our question is, and we can start really simple with what do I need? So checking in with myself. So I'm not thinking so much about material things. Unless you have basic needs that are not met, then maybe you do want to start with, okay, what do I need? But even preceding that, let's go with, how do I want to feel? So I'm looking for change. Why? What's driving that? And what am I changing from, and what am I changing to? That could take us into all sorts of depths and all sorts of pathways to our soul. And that's what these questions are. They're pathways to our soul to check in, to understand where we are, where we're going, what is driving us there. Is it coming from an inspiration and a deep soulful longing, or is it coming from a fear or avoidance? So there's all sorts of information that will emerge, but we can start with the question of what is it that I'm wanting? What am I wanting to feel? And even if you can go into your heart and think of your heart as just a reservoir, a pool, a beautiful, magical pool of possibilities. What bubble, what is sparkling to the surface in terms of the possibility that feels exciting, that feels alluring, that feels inviting, that feels like it is wanting to emerge. If it felt safe to emerge, this is what would come up. I really want to experience well-being, or I really want to experience a sense of purpose, that my life has purpose or meaning to it. I really would like to feel peace. I'm not feeling peace. I would like to feel peace. For example, I'd like to feel whole. I'm looking for an experience of wholeness. It could be anything, but starting with the question. And then from there, you get the answers in terms of noticing where your attention goes. So as you ask the question, how do I want to feel? And you name it. And you say, the feeling that's coming up for me is I just want to feel, I'll use myself as an example. Right now, I'm like, I just want to feel ease. Just a sense of real flow. Okay, great. What would that feel like? It feels like I'm in flow with the grace of life. It feels very open, feels relaxed and peaceful. Okay. And from there we can go and say, is there anything that doesn't feel easy right now? I'm having a really hard time with this. It doesn't feel easy. And I think that's what's bringing up this feeling of wanting to feel ease. Okay, great. Well, let's work at the information there, because whatever does not feel easy is something old. It's an old pattern. It's a buried emotion. It is something that is not us in our wholeness. That when given attention and looked at and worked with and allowed through can be released. And then there isn't that thing between us and the ease that we want to feel. Again, using that as an example. So if we start out with what we're looking to feel and why, we start to get information already in just forming the question. So another example of this is if I had started with the question of, what is wrong with me? Like, like this is happening and this is happening and this is happening in my life, and it's not reflecting the work that I'm doing on myself or my creative work that I'm offering. Like, what is wrong with me? Well, then we can look at that question and say, okay, so this question is assuming that something is wrong, and it's with me. So there's some way that I feel I am wrong, or there's something I should be doing, or there is this assumption that there is a right way and a wrong way. And so we could dig into that question. And if you notice, a question like that is very closed. It is already making the assumption there's something wrong. What is it? And then with that comes these expectations and shoulds of it should be different. So the question starts closed. Now, if we work with a question, then it becomes a teacher, because ultimately it's taking us to the same place of, if I explore, why do I think or believe or feel that there's something wrong? Then I'll get indications of this and that. And ultimately what it'll show me is there are these places where I am not experiencing ease. And it's uncomfortable. Okay, great. Then we can work with that. Then instead of saying, oh, there's something wrong with me, and going into a shame spiral or an analysis or a space where like my smaller self tries to prove herself and all that she's done to do great things. It's the smaller self that will do that, because the higher self knows it's whole. The higher self is wholeness, and there's no shaming there. There's no blaming there. There isn't a right and there isn't a wrong there. And when we're coming from heart, when we're coming from soul, when we're coming from wholeness. So see what question you're working with right now in your life, and just work with the question. Work on forming the question. I've heard a few times lately in a poem, and my mom was talking about this the other day. So this is a theme that keeps coming up. I was helping someone else the other day understand their question right now. So this keeps coming up on living the question. And so if we think of, life, the future as unknown, if we invite it as unknown, I mean, if we look at the future as known, then we lose our agency, our purpose, our inspiration, our being. It's like a blind or default state of just moving forward, not from a place of soul, from a place of habit and pattern and default. If we look at the future as unknown, then the question becomes, what's possible? Where will the growth be? What will be created? What will be explored? And so it becomes new. And so in a sense, in our life, we're living that question. We're living the question of what's unknown? What is the next threshold I'll cross from known into unknown, and what will that be like? And who am I and how am I in living that question, in being that question, in the becoming. That's what this journey is. It's a journey of becoming, the answer to the question. And we do that by living the question. And so it helps to know, what question are you working with right now? And then how is life showing you the answer, or inviting you to be and experience the answer? And then what question emerges from that? So there is a lot of beauty in asking questions, and then really looking at and being with the questions we ask, because often they take us right to the answer.